You're listening to the Rise with Tori podcast, where we explore and live out the intersection between faith, fitness, and wellness. I'm your host, Tori, and I'm so glad you're here today as we strive to grow spiritually and physically with a God-first mentality for lasting change and God-honoring change. Today, we are going to get into just the minds of fitness instructors and see what they're thinking. If you've ever wondered what your trainer, maybe your group fitness instructor or your personal trainer, or just maybe even someone online is thinking, this episode is for you. It's all about what we wish that people knew, or what we wish our clients knew, or what we wish non-trainers, non-coaches knew. So these are not only from myself, but other instructors and trainers and stuff from around the country, around the world. So let's get to it with question number one, or statement. I guess these are not questions. Statement number one, what we wish people knew as a fitness coach, a trainer, personal trainer, is that we were beginners once as well. We did not pick up weights and just start throwing them around and have perfectly good form and know exactly what we're doing. We all have started from the beginning. We've all started somewhere and worked our way up. We've learned, we've had trial and error. I can't tell you how many times if I come across my old programming from the very beginning, I'm like, what? What was I thinking? But really, like, that's true for any profession, any career. It's like in the beginning, you're just doing the best that you can. You're showing up. But we all start as beginners. And so just remembering that we are not judging you for being a beginner, because we were there once too. Number two, we miss you when you're not there. We miss you if you cancel. We miss you if you're not in class. We notice, we love, and for me personally, like, I have built relationships with people in my classes or my clients or even online. And so I miss you when you're not there, or I miss you when you're not communicating or not making your presence known, because me personally, I love relationships and I love connecting with people and I love helping people get better and see their potential. And so we do, we miss your presence and we feel it when you're not there. The next one, it is an expense to keep things going, or the initial expense up front. So, you know, when someone pays for a training session or pays for a program or pays to go attend a group fitness class, you're not just paying for the instructor that's up there or your coach or your trainer and what they're teaching you at that moment, but you're investing in, you're paying for their continuing education, their certification, their growth, the prep work behind the scenes. Because let me just tell you, I think all coaches can speak to this, in that when we come and we show up and we train you or coach you or lead you, that's not it. Maybe that hour, that 30 minutes, that's not all we do. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes to prep for your training session, to prep for a class. And so when you do invest in that for not only yourself, but you're investing in that coach and that trainer's just learning and growth and prepping for what they're bringing to the table. The next one is, we are for you. There might be some coaches and trainers out there that don't seem like they're for you and they're just really trying to be hard on you. I can guarantee you they really do care. We are for you. We want to see you succeed. We want to see you get better. We love when the light bulb moment goes off, when you realize you can do hard things, when you realize I can run this distance or pick up this weight or push through a really hard section of choreography, whatever it is. We are for you, and we want to see you succeed. We want to see you get better. We want to see those breakthrough moments. And for me, being a faith-based trainer and coach, I want to see you grow in your relationship with Christ, and I am for you in that. I want to help you in your relationship with Him and push closer to Him and just disciple. And so we are definitely for you. The next one is whatever you do consistently is the result you will get. So if it's something that is consistently bettering your health and you are doing that every day, day in and day out, you will get the result of that. You will get whatever the positive result is you're looking for. But if you're consistently eating fried foods or processed foods or not moving your body a whole lot, you will get the result of that. And so what we really want you to know is that it's all about the consistency. If you are showing up and just doing your best, that is what matters. It's not about the perfect. And I'm sure you've heard this, progress over perfection. That is true, but also the consistency part. So whatever you do consistently is the results that you will get. So you can't, this is another thing, is you can't expect maybe the whole week you eat really well and take care of your body and move, but then on the weekends it's just out of control, because that is not being consistent day in and day out. What I like to think of it as is kind of the 80-20 of 80% of your whole entire week. You're eating healthy and moving your body and taking care of yourself and reading God's word. And then 20% is left for a treat or relaxing or whatever it is. That it's not about the 100%, and then you have a lot of people call it a cheat meal. I like to call it a treat meal. It's because it's a treat. But even in like day to day, I'm probably not even making sense because my words are all over the place. But say in your day, you do really, really well, and then you have just like a little treat, maybe a handful of almonds or something. And then Tuesday, you eat really well. And then Wednesday, you do well and you have an ice cream cone with your family. That's what it should look like, not completely restrict and then go crazy on the weekend. Okay, so going back to, that was a really long-winded answer, but consistency. Consistency is what will bring you the result that whatever you're being consistent in. The next one is you can do hard things. This kind of goes along with we are for you, but you can do hard things. We are not special. We are not superhuman. We are not like the just bionic person that can just do whatever. You can do hard things too. But going back to, we all started as beginners once and worked our way up. It's the same thing. You can do hard things. You can press into those hard places. That's what grows us. That's what makes us stronger. That's what makes us better. And if you consistently throw in the towel or give up or walk away from it, then you won't see the results, or you won't get stronger. You won't get better. So you can do hard things. Now, being a faith-based trainer and coach, I like to say because of God and because we lean into Him and because we press into Him, it's His strength that helps us get through. It's His strength. When we depend on Him, He can help us do hard things. Sometimes when things happen in the world and I'm like, people who don't have God, don't have Christ, I don't know how they do it. He is the one who sustains me and helps me get through it. So yes, you can do hard things. The next one is, we don't always feel like it too. We don't always feel like showing up. We don't always feel like working out. We don't always feel like making the healthy choice. We have those moments where we don't feel like it too. And if I'm being completely honest, there are times where we don't feel like showing up to class, or we don't feel like training, or we don't feel like leading, or whatever it is. We have those moments too. But going back to the last one, we can do hard things and we can press into those hard places. And sometimes we just have to be obedient to what God has called us to, but we also have to honor our bodies and recognize that sometimes we just have to pull back a little bit and maybe not go at 100% and maybe go at 70% for that day or that class or whatever it is. So we don't always feel like it too, and that's where grace comes in for both you and for ourselves. The next one is we want you to feel free to modify as needed, to listen to your body. We don't want to put the pressure on you where you're like, oh my gosh, the trainer's watching, I have to do it this way. No, I don't want that. I want you to feel free, the freedom to move how God has called you to move in that moment. Now, if it's because you are not pressing into hard places, I will invite you, and I do want you to press into those hard places. But if you're at a place where you're like, Tori, push-ups on my knees is where I'm at right now, then I want you to do push-ups on your knees. If push-ups against a wall is where you're at right now, I want you to do that. I want you to feel the freedom to move in your body how God has called you to move. We're all so different and move differently and are at different places, and I will never judge somebody or come down on somebody for choosing the best option for them or choosing the success option for them in that moment. Okay. Next thing, we are not judging what you eat. This one has been a pet peeve of mine for a long time. And this goes beyond like trainer, as in if I'm coaching you and you're sending me your meals for the day and stuff, of course I have to evaluate it and drop the pin on it. But aside of that, if we are just out to eat and you know I'm a trainer, you know I'm a coach, and you order a burger and you're like, oh, don't look at my food, I ordered a burger. I don't care. I do not care that you ordered a burger. I don't care that you ordered fries. I don't care if you wanted to get a salad. I am not judging you on what you're ordering or what you're eating outside of if I were training you and coaching you. I'm really not even looking at it. I'm really, because I don't know, is that your splurge for the week or for the day? Or maybe that's what your body needs at that moment. I don't know. And so that's why I am not judging. So if you feel like you're my friend or we're out at a gathering and you have to hide your food from me, listen, I don't even care. I'm not looking at your food. I'm not judging your food. Okay. So let's just set that record. Let's just set that straight. I'm not looking at what you're eating, consuming, drinking, whatever, unless you're a paying client asking me to look at what you're eating and drinking. Okay, next one is we eat treats too. So going along with that one, we're not judging you because we eat treats too. And we splurge and we do things that maybe we sit on the couch and we know we should be getting in our workout or moving or walking a little bit more. We eat the treats too. Okay. We know it's about balance and not depriving ourselves. And for me personally, I treat myself because life is too short to restrict myself and not enjoy a treat once in a while, right? That is the key thing, is the once in a while and not all the time. The next one is you can't expect to see results in a month. This is a big one when people join a program or get a trainer or start going to the gym and they're doing all the things. And we've had a whole podcast episode about this before, about what do you do if you're not seeing results, or what happens, or what could be going on. You can't expect to see results in 30 days. You can't expect that, oh my gosh, I lost the 30 pounds or the 10 pounds I've been hanging on to for whatever it is, whatever that goal is. You can't expect that to happen in 30 days. So just think about, you didn't get to the place that you're at in 30 days. So why would you expect that to happen in 30 days? My rule of thumb is about 6 months to a year is what it will take for you to probably really see. Now, you will feel results pretty quickly. You will feel better. You will probably sleep better. You will probably move better. But to get to that end goal, right? Because it's baby steps along the way. Getting to that end goal is not going to take 30 days, but there will be those small victories along the way. And that's what we want you to focus on, is the small baby steps and the small victories along the way to that bigger end goal. Okay, so keep that in mind. You won't see results in 30 days, maybe even 60 days, but you can expect to experience those small victories along the way to that bigger one. Now, going along the lines with that is that you can expect to see results in a month. You also may think that you are on track or eating well, doing all the things, and really you might not be. And so this is something that I try and teach in my groups, or if I'm individual training, is, hey, let's drop the pin on what you're doing throughout the week, right? So I'm not big on tracking macros, but every once in a while. I don't want to be a slave to it. I don't want to be counting numbers for the rest of my life. But once in a while, I think it's a good tool and it's useful to drop the pin and see, am I really having just 2 tablespoons of peanut butter? Am I really just having whatever the serving size is of what I'm eating? Am I really eating enough veggies throughout the day or fruit throughout the day? Because sometimes when it comes down to it, we think, if we just go off of our brains, we think we're doing it. We think that our portion sizes are correct, when in reality we're either overdoing it or we could be underdoing it. If we have a protein goal and I think that I'm hitting my 100 grams of protein a day, when in reality I've only hit 60 or whatever you want to say. So I do think it is good, and most trainers will tell you it is good to drop the pin on, hey, let's just take a week and evaluate, where are you at? And chances are you may not be where you think you are, because listen, we get distracted, we get busy, we have lives. Our lives do not, and I don't want it to revolve around tracking what we're eating and measuring and all that stuff. But once in a while, we have to kind of just check in and see where we're at, and then evaluate and go from there. The next thing is, social media influencers don't always know what they're doing. Just because someone has a large following, just because someone is posting on social media, their workouts, whatever, their training, does not mean that they know what they are doing. I'm sure there are a lot of coaches out there that can tell you the people with even the smaller followings probably know more, or know what they're doing more than people with the big followings. Now, that is not a blanket statement, because there are people with large followings that are influencers that do know what they're doing. But we have to be careful with associating, oh, this person has a lot of followers, so they must be successful. They must know. That is not always the case. Yes, I know I have a decent amount of followers, but listen, my social media right now is like, it's the engagement is very low. And so I honestly don't even look at my number, because I'm like, not that many people are engaging anyway. So to me, I'm not like a huge influencer anyways, but I digress. That's besides the point. My point is, just because someone has a large following does not mean that they know what they're doing, that they have the certifications, that they have the training, that they are doing continuing education to keep learning and to keep growing in their craft and what they're teaching. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Next thing is, women, we want you to know you belong in the gym. I'm a woman myself. I belong in the gym. There was a time back in the day where I'd be intimidated to pick up dumbbells, or be intimidated to walk over to the weight section of the gym, because it is predominantly dominated by men. However, we have seen a big shift in the last few years of women picking up weights and getting in the gym and showing that there is a place for them in those spaces. Yes, you belong there. There's a place for you. I know it can be intimidating. I know, especially if you're new, it's hard to want to walk in front of a group of men or go over to the weights and pick them up. And this is why I want to make a call to women. If you are in the gym, if you see someone who maybe seems intimidated or doesn't really know, like, encourage them, come over, maybe help them, and not like, oh, critique their form or whatever. But if you see someone, like, be an encouragement to them. Or men, I don't know how many men listen to this podcast, but men, be an encouragement to the women, lift them up, build them up. Don't be cold. Don't be mean. Don't be, talking down, whatever it is. Encourage people that are there, and women encourage men too. Like, listen, we can all share the same spaces and encourage each other and build each other up. And we're all there for the same reason. We're trying to better ourselves. We're trying to be healthier. We're trying to take care of the body God has given us. And so let's be kind in those places and help each other out. But I wanted to say, women, you belong in the gym. You belong lifting weights. There's a place for you. The next thing is your body. We want you to know, and this is probably coming from more of the faith perspective, because I know that the world will tell us differently about this one. But your body is not the most interesting thing about you. Your outward appearance, your body, how big you are, how small you are, how muscular you are, how fast you are, whatever it is, that is not the most interesting thing about you. And so how the world has taken that and made that the most interesting thing about us, or maybe the perception of that, because I think people, even not in the faith world, would agree with this, is that my body is not the most interesting thing about me. I have other qualities that I bring to the table. I have other things that I want people to notice about me, and not just my body. And so I would say that as a faith-based coach, but also a regular, just secular coach, in that your body's not the most interesting thing about you. Your humor, your knowledge, your personality, your whatever it is, that is more interesting than what you look like. Because guess what? Looks fade, bodies change. We are meant to get older. We are meant to have saggy skin as we get older, and wrinkles and gray hairs and all the things. It's hard. It doesn't make it any less hard. It's hard to age, but that's not the point. And that's not the most interesting thing about ourselves. Next thing is, this is a big one. And I think people know this, but I still get questions about it, and I still get people asking, how can I spot reduce? How can I reduce the fat on my stomach or on my arms? And we're here to tell you, coaches, trainers, you cannot spot reduce. You cannot pick an area of your body and train it to lose fat there. God is the one who designed our bodies to where we will lose fat or hold fat. Some of us hold more in our legs, some of us hold more in our stomach, some of us hold more in our arms or our face. We don't get to choose how our bodies hold fat or where we lose fat. And so we can eat well and we can exercise to reduce overall body fat, but you cannot spot reduce and do a bunch of tricep dips and stuff and think that you'll lose the fat behind your arms, or do a bunch of crunches and core work and think that, oh, the fat's just going to come off there. Nope, that's not how it works. And so that is something that people still ask, is how do I lose the fat on my legs, my saddlebags, my whatever it is. You can't do that. We can't spot reduce. All right, next thing is ladies, back to lifting weights. If you pick up weights, if you strength train, you're not going to get bulky. Now, there's a disclaimer on this one, because strength training, we talked about this in another episode. Strength training is so, so important, especially as we get older. Helps with our bone density. The more muscle we have, the faster metabolism is. We lose muscle as we get older, and so we want to retain our muscle as we get older. Now, the disclaimer is, if you lift weights and your muscles grow and you still have fat on your muscle, yes, you may look a little bit bigger, or you may fill out your clothes a little bit more because you're adding muscle with the fat. But that is not normally the case. The case normally is if you start strength training, you are increasing your metabolism, increasing your resting metabolic rate. And so while resting, you're going to burn more. And so you will start to lose the fat as well. So no, I think the misconception is if I start lifting weights, I'm going to get big old traps and I'm just going to blow up and I'm going to look like a bodybuilder. And let me tell you, bodybuilders, they work really hard to look like that. Nowadays, steroids is rampant in the bodybuilding community. Yes, there are still natural bodybuilders, but to be a pro and to be that big, like when you think bodybuilder, like most of them are taking steroids. Okay, let's just set the record straight. And most of them are pretty open about it. Okay, I don't want to make a blanket statement again and say everybody, but a lot of them are. And so you're not going to get huge and bulk up and be this big old muscle woman if you start lifting weights, because those people are eating for that, they're training for that, and a lot of them are taking steroids to get to that place. So please, women especially, do not be scared to lift weights and to strength train, because you're not going to just become a bodybuilder and look that way. Trust me, it will not happen. Okay, couple more. Number 18, I have 20 total. So number 18, perfection is not real. And I think you might know this, but I think social media skews our view of this. And we think the people we see online, the perfection that we see, oh, they don't have flaws. Oh, they have the perfect body. They have the perfect shape. And that's not real. They may present it that way. Their angles, the lighting, a lot of them stand in a way that makes it look better or posing, right? Most of it is not real. Perfection is just not real. They're not showing you the flaws, or they're not showing you the truth. A lot of them hide the truth. And so we got to stop comparing ourselves to people we see on the internet, even people we see out and about. Perfection's not real. And the idea of perfection is everyone has their own idea of what the perfect body is, what the perfect shape is, what the perfect hair is, whatever it is. And so it's not real. Perfection is relative, and we got to stop comparing ourselves to other people and just live free in the bodies God has given us, and take care of it and steward it and honor God with it, and stop trying to chase an outward look, an outward appearance of what we think is perfect, because it's not real. Next one is form. So we want to focus on form over ego lifting, and sometimes even speed. And so what do I mean by this? If someone is trying to PR their squat or PR a deadlift or whatever it is, but their form is terrible and they could really end up hurting themselves, form really trumps it. We want form over ego lifting, trying to boost our numbers or be the best at this or whatever. We want good form, and we want to take care of our bodies. Honestly, I'm coming from a place of longevity, right? If we are doing all this ego lifting when we're in our 20s, but it's not helping us for when we're in our 40s to move well, our 50s to get out of bed, to be able to bend over and stand up, to be able to sit on the floor with our grandkids, then what's the point, right? I come from a place of longevity. I want to be able to move well, train so that I can run around with my grandkids when I'm older, so I can pick something up off the floor and not be like, ugh, which I still do that sometimes. But you get the idea here, is that I want to be able to serve and help someone pick up boxes to move, or to carry my groceries in from my car as I get older. So really, I'm training for longevity. Now, your goal might be different, but all that to say is let's focus on performing well and moving well so we can age well. Okay, that's what I meant by the form over ego lifting. Okay, the last one, I won't say this is the last one, best one, or saving the best for last, but this is a big one. This is a really big one, and we fall into this trap so many times, and we have seen it the last few years run rampant everywhere. We want you to know there is no magic pill, quick fix, or shortcut. How many decades have there been things that have come out? Oh, this is the secret to getting the perfect body or losing the weight or blah, 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 fill in the blank. Oh, this is the magic fat burner that's going to help you, blah, blah, blah. Y'all, we have seen it time and time again. Those things become a trend and then they fall off. And then a new exercise equipment comes in and then it falls off. Then Ozempic comes in and everyone's all about it. And they're not weighing the health risks. Now, listen, if you're on Ozempic, listen, I'm not saying no one can do it, right? If your doctor says you need to be on it, if you need to do it, then that's fine. But it's the heart behind why are we looking for these quick fixes, these magic pills, these shortcuts? Because we don't want to do the work. We don't want to do the hard things. And I'm going back to that other one. I don't remember what number it was, but you can do hard things. It's uncomfortable. I know it's uncomfortable. I know it's hard. I know you don't want to do it, but it's better than the quick fix or the shortcut that is only going to fill in that gap for like a minute, or you'll see the results maybe for a little bit, but then what happens when you go back to your old ways, or when you go off of Ozempic, or when you go off the fat burners, or when you stop using that magic piece of equipment? And I'm thinking like abs steel, or like what are those little leg machine things? I'm going way back to when I was like a kid, the little thunder thigh thing. Thigh master. Like what's going to happen when you stop using it, right? So all that to say, there's no magic pill, there's no quick fix, and there's no shortcut to being healthy. It's all just about that consistency and taking care of ourselves and honoring God with our bodies the best that we can, and showing up day after day, working hard, putting in the work. I know I always talk about grace and love and, honor your body, but I am about hard work too. You got to put in the hard work. If you want to see a result, you got to work hard. And this isn't just for fitness and health. This is for if you want to grow as a Christian, you got to do hard things. You got to do uncomfortable things. If you're going to be a disciple for Christ, you got to get uncomfortable. If you want to go to med school and be a doctor, you got to do hard things. You got to study. You got to do the things that you don't want to do sometimes. If you want to be a good parent, you got to have hard conversations with your kids. You got to press into those uncomfortable places. I know, okay, I'm getting a little fired up, but I just feel like we just try and take shortcuts, and we don't want to get uncomfortable, and we don't want to do hard things, but sometimes we have to. Not sometimes, a lot of times we have to. To grow, to get better, we have to push. I love getting out in the gym, and I love grinding. Like, it's hard and uncomfortable, like we're saying, but I love it, because then afterwards I'm like, I just did that. Same can be said. Parenting. I do not love having hard conversations with my kids. I don't love disciplining, but when I do it on the other side, I can say, we overcame, or, my kid learned this, or, I helped my kid overcome this because we did the hard, uncomfortable thing. Same thing with achieving a doctorate or a certification. I don't always want to get in there and learn the things and apply myself and push myself into the uncomfortable. But at the other side or on the end, I can say, look, I did the hard work, and look at me on the other side of this. With God's help and with His strength, I pressed into those hard places and I overcame, and I did it. And I did it. Okay, so I'm going to get off my soapbox now. I hope that these things, from a trainer, a coach perspective, but also just a human being, I hope it helped you. I hope that maybe you gleaned something from this and said, you know what? Coaches are not perfect, but they want the best for us, and they want to help us, and they want to walk alongside of us and help us just to become healthier and stronger and better and more faithful people, just disciples all around. Okay. All right, y'all. I love you. Thank you for joining me for this episode. Next week, we are moving. And so I'm not really sure. I might have a episode from one of my teachings in Rise, or I might have just a quick little check-in. I'm not really sure yet. I haven't really decided, but I ask you to pray for us over this next week as we continue to just pack up our house, get everything ready to move across the country, pray for our travels, pray for everything that's coming up for us. Truly, truly appreciate you, and just, your prayers and your encouragement in this time of transition for us. So we love you, and I'll see you on the next one.